Alright, hi, my name is Bryce Butler, and this is my video for Sprint 1. Before we begin, I'd like to apologize for that slight sound in the background. That is my computer fan, and there's no way I can get it out. Also, I'm going to be talking very quickly because there's a lot that I did. Also, this is my 5th video because my recording software sucks. So, first I'm going to run the game, kind of show you things. My blaster can move around in its player zone, and it collides with mushrooms, it fires, and it fires a sound. One bullet is shot at a time. Also, I have 2 enemies. I have a flea and a scorpion, and the scorpion actually does poison the mushrooms. And all collisions between them all work. So, I'm going to run that. Alright. Blah, 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 blah. So I have my player zone. As you can see, that mushroom is poisoned. I do collide with my mushroom. Collide. The poison mushroom goes away. Also, the mushroom does play its animation. Okay, so in my mushroom field, I have static const for rows and columns for the mushroom field itself. And then I also have my start X, start Y, and offset, and these are for drawing the mushroom. Then down here I have a gen chance percentile and a gen chance max. These are for accuracy and precision reasons. So my percentile is 4.8%, and my gen chance max is 1,000. I'll kind of get into that a little bit later. I have my constructor, a clear and gen grid. My clear grid sets everything in the array to null. My generate grid actually creates the map. My update grid is called when a mushroom dies. It updates the grid array by setting that position to null. I have a mushroom count, and then I have a mushroom count specifically for the player zone. Then I have a grid item or double array for columns, rows, X, Y, and then a gen chance imager. So in my constructor, these are set to 0. My gen chance is my percentile times my max. So 0.048 times 1,000 is 48. So it's a 48% chance, or 4.8% chance. So 48 out of 1,000. Then I call my clear grid, then my gen grid. Clear grid sets everything to null. It goes to rows to calls. Here my rows start at 3 because the first 3 rows never have a mushroom generated in them, but mushrooms can still be there, like if I shoot the centipede or whatnot. Then I have an int random, which is ran mod gen chance max, so mod 1,000 right now. So if my random is less than or equal to gen chance, create a new mushroom, and the mushroom takes a pointer to the field, which is this, and then its X and its Y position in pixel coordinates. Then the count is incremented, and if it's in the player zone is incremented. In my update grid, it goes through, and if this is not null, and the X equals this X position, and Y equals this Y position, then set it to null, decrement if in player zone. In my grid item, I have my constructors, my game object stuff, my collisions, and a pure virtual poison. Then I have sprite texture, bitmap, start, end frame, position, and pointer to the field. In my CPP, I have everything like generated. Most of this actually should be in the mushroom, but I just haven't moved it yet. And that's all that it does in my mushroom. My mushroom's constructor calls the grid item constructor given these parameters. Then my is poisoned is set to false, and then I have that down here if the mushroom is poisoned. And then I have my poison method. So my poison method changes the start and end frame, and then sets the animation to be something else. And then I set my is poison to true. My draw has this if statement, because right as a mushroom was about to be destroyed, it would briefly flash the full health poison mushroom frame. So for that one frame, it would do that. So this has it not do that. So on my destroy, I deregister collisions, and then I call my update grid. And then if I collide with a bullet, the bullet dies. It has its die method. And then I go to the next frame, and then if my frame equals my end frame, this is marked for destruction. So in my player, I have my starting X and Y position, because I never change. I have my speed, and I have my bound for the player zone. I have constructors, game object, key press, collision, my move functions, which return bools because the AI component needs them to return bools. I have a reload method, then I have a fire, or can fire, a position, a bullets, and a fire sound. These were public, so because I need to get something to work, and then I need to change them back and have getters, but and setters. Then I have my texture, my bitmap, my component, which is for controls, a speed, previous position, and a window. I have things set here. Down here, I have my component set to blaster keys, but I can also have it set to AI. And then in my update, I update the size of the window in case it's changed, so player zone stuff. Also, my component calls its move blaster, and I set the position. In my draw, my previous position equals position, and I draw. I deregister collision, deregister input. On my collision, my position equals my previous position. I set my position. These is for bouncing off of mushrooms in the AI mode, and then I move using my speed, and everything moves in integers, not floats, because it looks perfectly fine and I see no reason to change it. And then my reload, my can fire is true, and my bullet is null. In my bullet, it has a speed, constructors, game object stuff, collision, and a die. It has a position, a start position, texture, bitmap, and a pointer to the blaster. My bullet, stuffs are loaded. My update, it's constantly moving up, and I set the position, and if it's off screen, it calls its die method. Draw, deregister collision. When it dies, it calls reload, and then marks for destruction. My component takes a blaster. It has a pure virtual move blaster, and then it has setters for my is up and is right, because that's for AI stuff, and I have a blaster pointer. And then in my blaster keys, I call my blaster component given the blaster, I register and deregister input, and then all I have is my move blaster, which moves based on key input, and then my key pressed, which is for firing. So if I can fire and space is pressed, then the bullet is a new bullet, and it can fire, and the bullet takes a pointer to the blaster, and then an X and Y position. Really quickly, enemy stuff. I have a base enemy class, which is just base stuff, sprite stuff, I guess. So it has collisions, game object, constructors. It has a position, a speed, texture, bitmap, and sound, and really nothing in the CVP. My Scorpion, for example, has a frame counter and is right. Is right is it starting on the right or is it starting on the left? And then in my update, my frame counter plus plus, and every time it mod 20 0, it go to the next frame. If it's right, it moves left. and then if it's off screen it dies, otherwise it moves right, and if it's off screen it dies. Set the position, draw, destroy. If it collides with the grid item, it poisons it. If it collides with the bullet, it dies, and the bullet dies. Flea is the same, except it moves down, and so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Yep.